Oh hello, thanks for watching my video. So a little while ago I made a video with 10 storylines to play out in The Sims 4. If you haven't seen it already, I'll leave a link to that video in the description and in the white box above right now. Some of the storylines in that video were using mods, and others were just the functionality of the game. I got a few comments for that video where some of you were asking me to make a follow-up video with more storylines, but for storylines that all involved mods. So that's what I did. Here are 10 more storylines with mods. So, first up, the women-only colony. So this first one will probably give you some proper cult vibes, and I may or may not have been inspired by the Wicker Man to do this storyline, but basically the gist of it, you start off in an off-the-grid location with one female sim, but this isn't just your regular run-of-the-mill, loves lipstick and making sandwiches female like the rest of us are. This female has a massive chip on her shoulder. She used to be the type who wore her heart on her sleeve, and unfortunately, her heart has been broken one too many times. Her life up until now has been a spiral of falling head over heels in love, only for the man of her dreams to cheat on her and fuck off. So she decides she's through with chasing the pipe dream of finding someone who will give her a happy ending, and instead, she decides it would be a good idea to start a cult. No boys allowed, of course. Although there is definitely some male involvement. No longer interested in finding true love, the woman goes out to find a willing man to bring home. She seduces him, beds him, and once she finds out she's pregnant, she slaughters the poor bastard. Repeating the process over and over again until she has a bunch of daughters. At this stage, I usually try to aim for about 4 or 5 daughters, otherwise it just gets difficult to manage when it comes to the next step. The mods I use for this storyline are MC Command Center so that you can make sure each baby is a girl, plus you can extend the amount of family members allowed in the household, and even to give you a helping hand with cheating the relationship with men, as that can get quite repetitive here. I would also recommend extreme violence for more gruesome deaths. What's the point in joining a cult if you don't see gruesome deaths? And as you may have guessed, the daughters will grow up to reproduce just like their mother, and the cycle continues until you've established a community of men-hating, baby-making, independent women who are also cold, heartless killers. Yeah, the women's only colony. And coming into number 2, we've got Big Boy Drug Boy, making the titles up as we go along. Young Terence has quite a hard life. He lives in a small rundown apartment with his single mum Denise and his little sister Courtney. The small family are struggling to make ends meet and bills are often paid late, if paid at all. Young Terence has become pretty hostile in his adolescence, so he doesn't have the best reputation when it comes to his peers. Courtney, on the other hand, wouldn't hurt a fly, and if anything, she often comes home crying from being bullied all the time. But one day, Terence is approached by a strange man who tells him that his reputation is being noticed around town. He sees a younger version of himself in Terence, the struggles he went through, and he offers Terence a lifeline. The strange man, turns out, is actually a drug dealer. He's got clients all over the place, but he knows that more money is to be made from schools, specifically the high school that Terence attends. Problem is, our strange little buddy here has some pending charges, so he's not allowed within 100 feet of the school. So he enlists the help of young Terence, who quickly becomes the most popular kid in school. He hosts parties all the time, selling them drugs and laughing to the bank. His mum is suspicious as to where the money is coming from, but seeing as Terence's income has prevented them from being evicted, she decides not to ask any questions. As Terence gets older, he starts earning even more money. He cuts out the middleman and orders his stuff straight from the dark web. He even joins a gang. And it's not long before he goes from a nobody to a well-known criminal. He buys his mum a nice new house. He gives his now teen sister a friendly boob job to help her become more popular at school. Terence starts upping the stakes with his money-making schemes. Not only is he selling drugs, but he's also conducting kidnappings and getting extra cash for ransom money. He manages to afford himself a penthouse suite. The women are flocking to him. His mum has a mortgage-free home, and his sister has all the boob jobs she could want. And they all lived happily ever after. Or will they? That's for you to decide. The mods used for this Let's Play is base mental drugs for drug dealing and gang action, and the life tragedies mod to perform kidnappings. Yeah, Big Boy Drug Boy. Then of course, coming hot in at number 3, we've got Redneck Dad. You start off as Doris, an elder like you've never seen before. Doris has always lived on the wild side of life. She loves nothing more than partying and getting laid. When it comes to overexertion, she has narrowly dodged a few bullets and manages to keep her stamina despite her age. She may have had a few death scares, but she always manages to stay optimistic. That is, until one day she notices a few strange feelings. Feelings that she hasn't had in a long time. She has every doctor's test under the sun and still can't figure out what's wrong with her. Until, as one last effort, she takes one more test. And although she thinks it's impossible, it can't be. Doris is shocked to discover that she is pregnant. She decides to keep the babe and gives birth to a bouncing baby boy named Boris. Trouble is, the birth was a huge strain for Doris, and this time she tested her limits too far. Doris has died. But all hope is not lost for little Boris. He's sent away to live with his long-lost brother Billy, a gun-loving trailer park numbnut who hasn't amounted to much. He usually just eats baked beans out of a tin for his dinner and is in no way equipped to raise a baby. At first, Billy is resistant to raising Boris, but he knows it would have been his mother's dying wish to keep the boy in the family, so he tries his best. Over time, he starts to develop stronger feelings for Boris. Dare I say, even love. The responsibility of raising his brother has led to many changes in Billy's life. He gets a job, starts working on their home to make it a nicer place to live. Billy teaches himself to read by reading stories to Boris, and he even learns to cook. Before you know it, Billy actually loves being a big brother and has Boris to thank for his better life. What happens next? You decide. For this storyline, you'll need Babies for Everyone mod so that the elder can have the baby. Yeah, Redneck Dad. Swooping in at number 4, we've got Business Babes. Now this one might just sound familiar to you. You start off with a pretty well-to-do family who live in a nice house. Their kid is doing okay when it comes to school. Their teenage daughter has always maintained good grades and a string of jock boyfriends who don't know about each other. But then, to the utter surprise of everyone involved, including you as the viewers, our teen gets pregnant. Her parents are furious. They cannot believe their daughter has gone and got knocked up. They are unsupportive towards her, reject the baby, and tell her she's got to go. Unsure of what to do next, the disowned and kicked out teen picks up the phone and asks her cousin for advice. Turns out teenage pregnancy does indeed run in the family. The two young mothers decide to club together and get a little place in the rough part of San Myshuno. Truth be told, the apartment is a bit of a dump, but it's where they call home. Plus, they are teenagers, it's not like they have much choice. They both drop out of school and focus on building their skills and saving money. Given their desperate situation, they start to find creative ways to make money, from selling paintings to going on the rob. As time goes by and the babies start toddling, the girls try to put in as much time as they can into building their crafting skills, like fabrication, knitting, flower arranging, so that one day when the little ones are kids, they can afford to buy a small home and open up a little trinket store, which helps the girls get on their feet and provide a better life for their happy accidents. The mods I use for this Let's Play are the Little Miss Sam's live-in business, so that you can move into a home and open up a store downstairs, and also MC Command Center, so that you can have teen pregnancy. Next on the list, I want to take you to a gay bar. Clay has always felt different to his brothers. While they were out chasing skirt, he was more interested in playing with the boys. His brothers would wrestle other men without shirts on, but he'd rather be wrestling other men without pants on. Clay struggled to understand why he felt the way he felt, until one day he stumbled into a gay bar and couldn't believe his eyes. People were so friendly. For once he didn't feel different. He would go there regularly for a long time, until one day the bar was closed. It had been shut down. Turns out the landlord couldn't afford to keep it running. Feeling determined, Clay decides to invest in an empty lot and decides he would turn it into the hottest gay bar in town. He wanted to give other people the same sense of belonging that the other bar gave him. So he builds it from nothing, invites all of his old friends over, posts on Simpstagram daily to hype up the bar and build some influence. And when he eventually works his way to becoming a one-star celebrity, he can finally add the lot trait of hottest spot in town. For this storyline, you'll just need the live-in business mod by Little Miss Sam. And who doesn't want to own a gay bar? Sneaking its way into number 6 on this list of family-friendly, wholesome Happy Let's Play ideas, we've got the Brothel challenge. This one is very familiar to me, and if you've seen a lot of my videos, you'll be familiar with it as well. Concept is pretty simple. Build a brothel, make a family full of workers, and make some money. I have found that the best way to do this is to initially hit the streets, meet people, maybe even form groups with different sims. When you've got loads of townies added to your group, it's time to head back to headquarters, i.e. the brothel. Host one group gathering after another, and prostitute for money. I usually try to have daily goals, like you could say your household needs to make 10k a day, and once you've hit a certain amount, you'll treat your sims to a few upgrades, like a nicer bedroom or maybe even a full redecoration. This playthrough requires Hoe It Up to be able to earn money. Alternatively, there are other brothel challenge ideas in the forums where you can play through without using mods. But I find Hoe It Up just makes it a little bit more spicy. Number 7. Saw. Who wants to play a game? Now this storyline is a fairly quick one. You start off with multiple sims and multiple rooms. Each room sets the scene for a specific challenge. You can do whatever challenges you want. I went for challenges based off of annoying things Sims do. For example, it's annoying when Sims use the computer all the time. So I made a room full of activities, including one computer, and the first Sim that uses the computer dies. The first Sim to start a fire in the kitchen dies. The first Sim to get off the treadmill dies. You get the idea. The challenge is designed to kill all but one of the remaining Sims. And whoever is left gets to go free and live their life. The only mod you need here is MC Command Center so that you can force death upon your Sims. You can always use extreme violence too if you want more gruesome deaths. Number 8. The Modelling Challenge. Does your Sim dream of being a top model? Well, you can make their dreams a reality with this modelling challenge. Choose or create your model, build some cool photo shoot sets, design some fun costumes, and get snapping that camera. You'll need to use cheats to pay your Sims for modelling, seeing as there isn't actually a modelling career in The Sims 4. At first, they'll earn 1,000 simoleons for every shoot, although they cannot do more than 3 shoots per day. After they've got some experience and they've done 5, it then goes up to 3k per shoot, and after 10 shoots it becomes 5k. Plus, after 10 shoots, your Sims can go out on a destination assignment whereby they can travel to a vacation world to complete 3 shoots. They'll even get 2k towards travel expenses, how about that? As you can probably tell, this challenge is a very lucrative one. It won't take long before your Sims are swimming in cash. This challenge requires Andrew Pose Player mod, plus whatever poses you want to use. And if you do choose to do this challenge and want to share your photo shoot pics with me, post them on Instagram and use the hashtag Sims4Shoots. I'd love to see them. Next up, we've got Brenda's Baby Binge. This is Brenda, and Brenda loves her some cock. Her favourite thing to do is go out on the prowl and have a good time. She's never really been interested in starting a family, but she bumped into an old friend who has a house full of kids. Brenda couldn't help but wonder why anyone would want so many kids. That's when she learned about the new Crest child benefit system, which basically means that for every baby your Sim has, the new Crest government will pay them 1,000 simoleons, or 1 ka-ching in cheat speak. Brenda thinks about it for a few moments and decides that she deserves some of that cash as well. So she jumps on Simda, the local hookup app, and starts getting out there. She pops out one baby after another until she has a male and female baby from every single occult. As soon as the oldest child becomes a teen, they have to move out with all of their siblings, leaving room for more checks. Babies. Now technically you don't actually need a mod for this one, but I find it easier to meet other Sims while using the Simda dating app mod. And finally, we have got the local sperm donor. You start off as a single guy with high ambitions. You're disgustingly rich, which, as we all know, means you can get whoever you want. So you buy a huge house in Willow Creek and invite one of the local ladies over for dinner. You put your best moves on her and then you invite her to live with you. Before you know it, she's pregnant, which means it's time to bring in another lady. The gist of this story is that every woman in Willow Creek has at some point lived with you, got pregnant, had your baby and moved out to make room for more. Once you've impregnated all the women in Willow Creek, it's time to move on to Oasis Springs. Repeat the process until every woman from every world has at least one of your babies. This is a long-haul marathon, not so much of a sprint, because over time you can play through various different households until the babies are older and having little ones of their own, until you get to the point where virtually everyone in every world is in some way related to one another, thanks to your local sperm donor. This storyline would require MC Command Center to allow more Sims to live in one household, but it's not a necessity. Alright, so there we have it. 10 funny and strange storylines to play out in The Sims 4. Let me know what you think. Have you done any of these before? Let me know in the comments what your go-to storylines are, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Bye-bye.